Okay, so our second lesson in place value, page 17, you can see by the title that now we're comparing whole numbers. And it's the same thing as our last lesson, our lessons last week. You've learned this before. You've been comparing numbers since probably kindergarten, first grade. So this really is not going to be anything new or tricky. The only difference is we should be using bigger numbers. Well, they start us off with pretty small numbers, and that's okay, because that will help us to remember how to do this. But I think once we get going, a lot of you will start remembering. Let's go ahead and read this part together, and then we'll read the story problem. Let's read up there what it says. And remember, all of us need to be helping. Okay, ready? You have already learned how to compare numbers up to 999. Now you will compare numbers in the thousands. Use what you know to try to solve the problems below. And probably by the time we get to the third lesson, I'll have us do some bigger numbers, because I think this is going to be way too easy for us. All right, our story problem. I like story problems because they help us to know how this is done in the real world, in real math. So let's go ahead and read our story problem. Okay, ready? A museum has a collection of art from Haiti. They have 1,347 paintings. They have 1,295 flags. Do they have more paintings or more flags? And if you visualize when you're reading story problems, it helps you to understand and know what it's saying. So all of us know what a museum is. We know what a collection of art is. Okay, so we can picture that. This also makes sense. They have this many paintings and they have this many flags. Okay, is there anything tricky in the story so far? No. Sometimes we just have to reread or slow down or go back. And then we have the question. So this is important. This is where it's telling us what they want us to do or figure out. So do they have more paintings or more flags? So go ahead and underline that. Probably an important word is or, because that's telling us that we are comparing two things. What are we comparing, you guys? Tell me, all of you tell me, what are we going to be comparing? Flags and paintings. Perfect. So, if they have, there's different ways to do this. Probably most of the time, you'll see it laid out like this. So let's go ahead and do this. You can do this in your book too. So we have 1,347 paintings, and then we have 1,295 flags. So let's just write the two numbers down first and label them so we remember which number is for which thing. Okay. Next part. Raise your hand if these signs look familiar. Less than, greater than, or equal to. Yep, they should be looking familiar. Absolutely. So, we are going to compare these two numbers. Okay, get your pencil and let's underline the biggest, the digit with the biggest value or the most value. Okay, did you underline those?
Yes.
So we're just looking at those two numbers we underlined. We have 1,000 and 1,000. Do we know which one's bigger yet?
Yes.
Not just by looking at just the one, we don't quite yet. Of course we know, we do know, but let's pretend like we're just looking at the underlying number. So they're both ones, they're both 1,000. So we don't know yet. So then we draw a line under the next digit. So now we have 1,300 or 1,200. Now, can we tell which one's bigger or smaller? Yes. So when we do our sign that goes in between them, we always want to be eating the bigger number, pointing to the smaller number. So which number is bigger? This one of 1,347 or the 1,295?
1,247.
Because you all know that 1,300 is bigger than 1,200. So eat the bigger one. In the younger grades, we're not going to do this so much in 4th grade. You can do it today if you want to remind you. But we're always eating the bigger number. So maybe it's our favorite candy, the bigger number. So we're always eating the bigger number. And then the point, here's the point right here, is pointing to the smaller number. So that reminds us how to put the greater than, less than, or equal to. And basically, that's what we're doing. Does it sound familiar? Does it look familiar?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, our place value unit is pretty easy. It's just reminding us how to do certain things. Okay, any questions on this one? We're good? Okay. So let's turn the page. Yeah, let's skip down to number 2. Number 1 was just asking us about the question on the other page. Does the museum have more paintings or more flags? Well, did it have more paintings or more flags? It had more paintings. And how did we know? Because we had to look at the thousands place and the hundreds place. We underlined it. We already kind of talked about that one. So number 2 wants us to look ahead. Go ahead and read this part with me. So you can either look up front or look at your book. Okay, let's go ahead and read it. You can use place value to compare numbers. Start with the greatest place value position. Isn't that what I said on the other page?
Yeah.
Yep, start with the greatest place value position. Okay, let's keep going. Sometimes numbers you compare have the same number of digits. Sometimes they have different number of digits. Okay, that's very true. So we're going to have to be careful. What it's saying is that sometimes both numbers that we're comparing have 4 digits. Sometimes they have 5 digits. Sometimes they have 10 digits. But not always do they have the same number of digits. So we do have to be careful. So if we're looking at letter A, it wants us to circle the box with the greatest number of staples. Well, first we have to compare them. So get your pencil, underline the digit that's in the greatest place value position. Okay, and they are both 1,000. Just like the other problem, just by looking at that one, we don't know which one's bigger. So then we go to the next digit, and we have 12 and we have 15, or 1,200, 1,500. Can you tell which one's bigger and smaller now?
Yeah.
Of course you can. Go ahead and do your little sign, your greater than or less than or equal than sign. Okay, so you should be pointing to the small number, eating the big number. These both just had 4 digits, so they're pretty quick and easy. Letter B, what place value helped us to know which box? Did the 1,000 place value tell us which one had more? No, because they were both 1,000. Did the hundreds place value tell us which one had more? Yes. Once we got to the 2 and the 5, we're like, oh yeah, this one's bigger. Okay, so in this problem, it is the hundreds place value that helped us to figure out which one was bigger and smaller. Okay, the next problem Before we swell it, it says to circle it, but I like doing the greater than less than equal sign better. So letter C, we have 1,402 and 985. This one's a little bit different. Up here where it said, sometimes they have different number of digits. Let's count how many digits this number has. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's count how many digits this one has. 1, 2, 3. We don't even have to underline on this one because we already know, is 4 digits bigger or is 3 digits bigger? Which one? 4 digits. So we automatically know the 4 digits is bigger, so we can just do our symbol. But sometimes kids get tricked, especially when the numbers get bigger. So I want you to look up here really quickly. Sometimes people will not look at how many digits there are and just compare. Well, watch what happens if I just compare. You don't have to do this, but just watch. If I compare just like I did up here, and I underline that first digit, this one has a 1, this one has a 9. If I do it like this, then it would say, oh, this one's bigger because 9 is bigger than 1. Is that how it really works? No, because they don't have the same amount of digits. This one stands for 1,000. This 9 stands for 900. We know which one's bigger. 1,000 is. So be very, very careful, especially again when we get into bigger numbers. We have to know how many digits there are. And if they're not the same, then we know that it automatically is the one with more digits that's bigger. Okay, any questions about this page? That's really basically what they wanted us to understand, is that if there's a different number of digits, then we look at it a little bit differently. Let's go ahead and look at page 19, and we're going to skip down to number 2. We do skip around a little bit because I usually teach more than what it has, and then I end up doing a couple pages. So, skip down to the bottom of page 19. All right, guys and girls, let's read this one out loud together. What does it say? Circle the lesser price. Explain how using place value helps you to know this is the lesser price. Instead of circling it, I want you to do less than, greater than, or equal to. I want you to compare it, put the sign in the middle, and then it wants you to write a little sentence that explains how do you know which one's bigger? Why do you know, or actually it's not asking us for the bigger one, is it? It's asking us for the lesser. What's another word for lesser? Smaller, fewer, yep. So actually, we'll still do the greater than, less than sign, and then explain how you know. How did you know that one was the lesser one? Make sure you're using a capital and a period when you explain it. Go ahead and work on it. This shouldn't take too long. I'll probably just walk around the room once or twice, and then we should be ready to go. Remember, when we write sentences in math, we still have to write very, very, very nice sentences. We can't forget good writing skills. Ooh, very nice. Both of yours looks very nice. Okay, but you also need to have either a less than, a greater than, or an equal sign to show which one's bigger or smaller. Very nice handwriting. And spelling. I'm seeing some pretty good spelling. And if you don't know how to spell a word, but it's right there in your math book, then make sure you spell it right. Good job, you guys. In math, when you can explain, well, in language arts too, probably in life in general, if you can explain how you know something or why you know something, then you know how to do it. Are we all going to be writing the exact same answer? No, probably not. But that doesn't mean that all of our answers are not correct. Okay. Looks like most people are ready. I'm going to have you, oh, nice handwriting. Very nice, capitals and periods. I'm going to have you get up and go, like this is one section, one table, this is one table, and this is one table. So get up and go, find somebody at a different table than yours. Read them what you wrote, see what they think, and then listen to what they wrote. So share with each other. You probably did not write the same exact thing, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong. It can all still be right.
There is only has digits because the digit number has which means digits the left hand. But in 1056 there are 4 I know that I have 3 digits and without 156 that's 4 digits. So 652 is
Okay, when you're done, head back to your desk. Okay, I heard several different things. They sounded great. I heard somebody say this one is bigger because it has 4 digits. I saw other people saying to look at certain place value positions. And as I looked around and read some others, there were a few different things. So good job, you guys. The answer is, of course, this one is smaller, this one's bigger. This has 3 digits, this has 4 digits, which automatically makes this one smaller. So give me a thumbs up if your partner explained their answer made sense. It might have been different than yours, but it made sense. Okay. And maybe if your partner made a mistake, did you kind of teach them very nicely how it works or what mistake they made? So I doubt anybody did make a mistake, but if you did, then just be a teacher to your partner. Okay, next page. Okay, most of you turned the page. There you go. Okay, let's read this card that's in blue. Ready? Yes, let's read it. 2 teams are competing in a trivia game. Team A has 1,627 points. Team B has 1,816 points. Which team has more points? Okay, before we do anything, get your pencil and underline what it's asking us to do.
This is such an easy.
We have to figure out which team has more points. Okay, well, they drew us a nice little picture that helps us, and then also we have our information right here. So what we learned on the other pages is we need to make sure they have the same amount of digits. So let's count and make sure they have the same amount of digits. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we know that they have the same amount of digits. We can start with the, that's why it's not showing up, it's a black pen. Now you can start underlining the digits and go ahead and compare them. So continue this one on your own. Down here you have a solution line, which means they want you to write your answer in a sentence. So 1,816 is greater than or less than the other number. However you want to write your answer is fine, but it wants your answer in a sentence, which is just great. We can do that perfectly easy fine. Okay, very nice. Okay. I like the nice 4th grade sentences and handwriting. And a couple of you are writing very nice cursive. And the spelling is really good. This time when you're done, let's just have you share with the person next to you. And then I'm going to choose a stick to have somebody share out loud. But first, when you're done, just stay in your seat and just share with somebody next to you or behind you or in front of you. Okay, you guys, I'm coloring in this orange for today so I don't forget. Okay. All right, let's start talking to the people around us, guys, girls. If you two can tell each other, you can probably turn back and you and Madden can share, you two can share, you two can share. Benji, you and Corinne can share. And Tristan and Sophie can share. Satur and John, you two can share. Okay, let's see who gets to share out loud. Lots and lots of good answers I'm hearing. Remember, just because you don't use the same wording or say the same thing as the person that I call on, doesn't mean yours is wrong. Cora R., do you mind sharing? Okay, thank you.
In the 100th place, Team A has a 6 and Team B has an 8. And 6 is less than 8.
Okay, is she right? Yeah, that's a great way to explain it. Good job. It's kind of scary being the first one to get called on. Thank you, Cora. Okay, good job. So we know just by what she said, absolutely, we look at the 100th place because the 1000th place is the same. 6 is smaller than 8. So something like that. Okay, any questions on that one? Nope. If they continue with using just up to the thousands on the next lesson, I'm going to make the numbers bigger and more challenging for us. Oh, that's all for that lesson. Okay, we still have plenty of time, so we're going to continue on. Let me just change it on my computer. Okay, now guys, we are on page 21. We're still comparing multi-digit numbers, and good, they did make the numbers a little bit bigger. So it is still pretty easy, but at least the numbers are getting bigger. And as we're going along, we can make the numbers even bigger after we do a few of these. But let's do what it says. Let's do what it's asking us. And let's read the story problem together. But remember, it's a story. You're trying to visualize what's happening in your head. So if you understand what the words are saying, it helps you to know what to do with the math. Okay, let's read it. So pencils up. We're not coloring or drawing or anything right now. Okay, here we go. There were 23,643 fans at a football game last week. There were 23,987 fans at a football game this week. Which game had fewer fans? So yes, we need to underline and circle before we do anything. And I should see this on tests. I should see this in your book, because it shows that you are taking time to think through the problem. So we need to figure out which game had fewer fans. Do you know what fewer means?
Yes.
Yes. Tell me another word for fewer.
Less.
Okay, less, smaller, least. Yep. Okay, now we go back up to the top. There were this many fans last week. Okay, and there's this many fans this week. Which game had fewer? Well, the easiest thing, I'm actually going to show you a different layout besides the one that we were doing on the other pages. This is another way that you can compare numbers that might be easier for some of you when we get into bigger numbers. So let's do it like this time, just so everybody can try using a different way to figure it out. So if I write one on top of the other, almost like I'm adding or subtracting, and I line those place values up, so I have to make sure those numbers are lined up, I can see by doing it this way that they both have the same amount of digits. They both have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 digits. So that's one thing I like about this way, is I can see that they both have the same amount of digits. Now it's even easier to compare. So we look at the greatest value digit, and they're both a 2. This is kind of like alphabetical order. Can we tell by looking at the 10,000 place which one's bigger? No.
Yep.
So we go over to the next place. So now we have 23,000 and 23,000. Can we tell by those two place value spots which one's bigger? No. So we go to the hundreds place. Right here. The hundreds place is the one that's going to tell us which one's bigger or smaller. So go ahead and finish up this question and write the answer. So you can either write the answer in a sentence form, or you can write your answer by using the greater than, less than, or equal sign. So either way is fine. How many of you kind of like this way better? Okay. How many of you kind of like this way better? where we're just doing them side by side. And how many of you, it doesn't matter, they're both just fine. Okay. So you can really use whichever way you want. If you have a different way that makes sense to you, you can use that way too. Sometimes your other teachers taught you a different way that makes more sense. Sometimes your parents teach you a way that makes more sense. So as long as you show your work, then that's fine. So the game, we actually never even answered the question, so we need to actually answer this question. Which game, everybody let's answer this question. Which game had fewer fans? Was it last week's game or this week's game?
Last week.
So if I'm writing a sentence, I could say, last week's game had fewer fans than this week's game. So that's how I could answer it using a sentence form and actually answering the question. Okay, go ahead and turn the page. We already did all this. They used a place value chart, but they did put it one on top of the other, which is the same as we did. Then they just took the hundreds and compared those. They're also showing that if we do expanded form, we can compare them. So it's just showing different ways of comparing them, which we already kind of did a couple anyway. All right, let's look at page 20, 22, 23? Yeah, okay. We kind of skipped page 22 because we basically already talked about that stuff. So page 23. Okay. Now you will use the problem from the previous page to help you understand how to use place value and compare multi-digits numbers. Oh, is this the exact same number we used on?
Yep.
Okay, we already did that. Okay, we already did all that. Let's skip to the next page. I often do that. I'll teach you all of that on the first page. I don't know why it takes 3 pages in the book to teach that, but okay, let's just skip over to number 6, the apply it page. This is my favorite page. This is where we get to use what we've been practicing and show that we're understanding. So yeah, we turn the page and then we are looking at page, actually we turned the page a couple times. We're on page 24. Okay, let's read the story problem together and and then I'm going to let you figure it out, but you have to read it with us first. Sit up, please. Alrighty, let's read it, guys. There are 2 macaw parrots at a bird sanctuary. Zeke has a mass of 1,382. Let's pause for a minute. The word mass. So we know what parrots are. So these are macaw parrots. They're at a bird sanctuary. Zeke has a mass of 1,382 grams. When I count to 3, tell me what mass means. 1, 2, 3.
Weight.
Yeah, another word is weight. So with the customary measurement system that we use here in America, we say weight. In the rest of the country, they use the metric system and they call it mass. So yes, basically they have a weight or a mass of this many grams. Okay, let's keep reading. And Teo has a mass of 819 grams. Okay, so Zeke is this big. Teo is that big. Names, it could be either. With names, they're said different ways. When you have 2 vowels together, usually the first one is a long vowel and you say that vowel. So if it follows the way the English language works, kind of, it would say Teo, but that doesn't mean that it's not said differently. Yeah, you're right. Yep, you're right. So it could be said differently, you're right. Okay, which bird has the greater mass? I want you to use greater than, less than, or equal to, and then you also have to write a sentence. So you're doing two things. You're gonna reread it and make sure you circle in important information and understand it. And then you have to show your work using either greater, less than, or equal to. And then you need to write a sentence telling the answer. Which bird has a greater mass? You'll answer that sentence down here. Okay, I'm gonna give you a few minutes to work on that. So you're writing a comparison sentence using greater than, less than, or equal to. And then you're writing a sentence using words, answering the question, which bird has the greater mass? When you're done, get up and go find a partner that's also done and you can share with each other. And then I'll choose a stick and we'll have somebody share with the class. But when you're done doing the comparison and a nice 4th grade sentence with, you need more than 4 words in your sentence, so make sure you're doing 5 to 7 words to make it a 4th grade answer. And then you can go share with somebody. Good, we've got Nash and Benji sharing, and Sophie and Corinne, and Lionel and Taze are sharing, right? Okay. Okay. And when you're done, just head back to your desk. This won't take too long, and then I'll choose a stick and we'll have somebody share out loud. Okay, don't be afraid to share with somebody. And if you need help finding a partner, then let me know. We can find a partner. Tristan and Holiday, do you guys want to be a partner? Okay. And then Maggie's looking for a partner. Who else is ready for a partner? Well, you only have to share with one person, but let's just make sure we get most people sharing at least once. Good, nice. Capital, period, nice handwriting, lots of words to explain it. Good job. Let's see who gets to share. I think I'll just have you share your sentence, whoever stick I choose. Corinne, would you like to share what you wrote?
Sure.
Okay.
Zeke weighs more because 1,382 is more than
19
119
grams. Good. That was a perfect sentence. So I'm going to say just a little bit louder. Zeke has a bigger mass because he weighs 1,382 grams, which is more than 819 grams. So something like that. Okay, good job, Corinne. That was perfect. Give me a thumbs up if you answered. You don't have to have the same sentence as current. Give me a thumbs up if you basically had something similar, even if you use different wording. Oh, come on, you should all have thumbs up, you guys. I'm sure you did. Number 7. Let's talk about number 7 and 8, and then we'll do it. So put your pencil down, because we're going to talk about it first. So number 7, all you have to do is put the symbol that makes the statement true. Be careful with this one. Don't go too fast. They like to trick you. On number 8, you get to look at all of these and choose all the correct answers. So for example, letter A. Well, they both have 5 digits. They both have a 3 in the 10,000 place. They both have a 7 in the thousands. They both have a 0 in the hundreds. So it's actually the tens place that we're looking at. We have a 4 and a 6. This says the 4 is bigger. So that is wrong. That one's not right. That's not true. Okay, you want to try these?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
I do this.
You weren't supposed to have your pencil up till I told you to. That's why I said have your pencil down, because I knew that I'd have people working on it instead of paying attention up front. So we'll just give you a minute to kind of look through those. And remember, don't go too fast, because that's where we start making mistakes. Okay. Well, number 7. They tried to trick you. Did you let them trick you?
No.
So, if we just started comparing the digits, we would probably end up with the wrong answer. Yep, so we have to count the digits. This one only has 5 digits, this one has 6. That automatically tells me the one with 6 is bigger, the one with 5 is smaller. So, on that one, if we did it the other way, we would have gotten it wrong. So always make sure you count the digits, because they were trying to trick you. Down here, B. Is this one correct? Nope. Okay, is this one correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is this one correct?
Yes.
They tried to trick you on this one by just switching these 2 numbers to make sure that you're looking at it closely. And then, same here. They just switched these 2 digits trying to trick you, because they're used to kids just looking fast and not paying close attention. So they're trying to do little tiny things to trick you, to get you to slow down and really look at it. So the correct answers are C and D.
Yes.
How'd you do? We don't have to talk out. We can use our thumbs, that way we're not disrupting others. And you can just put it down if you don't want everybody to see, it's fine. Thumb up, you got them. Thumb sideways, you made a mistake, but you know what you did. It's okay to have thumbs sideways. We're learning. As long as you know a mistake you made, you're doing great. That's what we're supposed to do, is learn from our mistakes. Okay, are there any questions about these 2? We're good? All right, guys. We still have a teeny tiny bit more time. So, we might as well, go on to the next page. So now we're going to practice comparing multi-digit numbers. They have an example here using a place value chart, but I think we're okay just to go and start working on number 1. Okay, let's read it. And make sure you're visualizing and thinking of what the question says, what the story is. Okay, let's read it. In a certain year, 50,266 runners finished the New York City Marathon, and 38,879 runners finished the Chicago Marathon. Compare these numbers by lining up the places. Explain which number is greater. Okay, what you're going to do is reread it. Then you need to underline and circle. I'm not going to do that for you this time. I'm going to have you read it again. You underline and circle the important words. And then you need to compare the numbers. And then you need to explain, which means you're writing a nice 4th grade sentence. So this will take just a few more minutes just because you're doing several things. I like how Holiday reread it. She's circling, underlining, thinking about what the words say. That's an important step. Even if we're so very good at math, we need to make sure that we're circling and underlining and really understanding. And then you can compare them, and I don't care how you compare them. You can line them up like they said, or you can do it however you want. And then explain which number is greater. How do you know that? So a lot of times when we're explaining, we might use the word because. So we can say, tell which number is greater, and then we say because, so we can tell why it's greater. Okay, looking good. Good. Yeah. You do have to write a sentence. Yep, even if you showed 2 different ways of comparing, you still have to write a sentence. Because writing a sentence is explaining it. So that's kind of taking us to the extra level, kind of like from a 3 to a 4, being able to explain why it is that way. Okay, so I'm going to start doing it up here while a few of you are finishing. You might have circled and underlined differently than I do, and that's okay. But it looks like we have 50,266 people do the New York Marathon. We have 38,000 who finished the New York Marathon. 38,879 runners that finished the Chicago Marathon. So whether you lined them up or you just wrote them linear, either one is fine. They both have 5 digits, And right there, just by looking at the thousands place, I can tell which one's bigger and smaller. So 50,266 is greater because, let's see, who gets to tell us what they wrote? Maggie, do you want to share what you wrote?
Sure.
Okay.
I wrote 50,266 is greater than 38,879 because in the 10,000s place, 5 is greater than 3.
Perfect, that's great. And I like how she said both numbers because really, if we're comparing numbers, we should be saying both numbers. So that was a perfect, great example. Good job, all three of you that have shared today. That's awesome. Okay, any questions about this one? We're good? Okay. The next problem, number 2, has two numbers that are written in expanded form, and they want you to compare those two numbers. Is this any harder? No. Go ahead and compare them. You can choose how you want to answer it. You can either do greater than, less than, or equal to, or you can line them up, or you can just write a sentence. So I don't care how you show your answer on this one. You can do greater than, less than, equal sign. You can line them up to show, oh, they are lined up. You can explain it in a sentence. All right, boys and girls, which one is bigger, 62,583 or 67,245? Which one?
67,245.
And we can tell by the thousands place, right? Did anybody write a sentence that would like to share it? Okay, go ahead, Adam. What did you write?
I wrote 62,583 is greater than 67,285 because 7 in the thousands place, 7 is greater than 2.
Yeah, I think you kind of messed up a few words a little bit, but exactly. And so I like how he said both numbers. So 67,245 is bigger than 62,583, and we know that because of, what did you say for the second part? We know that because, oh, you're still writing it? Okay. I think you said because of the thousands place. Okay, great job. Thanks, Adam, for sharing that. We still have one more page left of this. I need you to not interrupt, please. Fifth graders, come in quietly. Boys and girls, I usually like to finish a lesson before we move on, but the time is up. So tomorrow we will finish the last page on session 2, and then we'll continue on to session 3. And then we have a test. So really, when we only have 3 lessons and then a test, then it goes by pretty quick, but that's okay. We know we're gonna have a math test every week, and we know it's only 5 or 6 questions, so it's not that big of a deal. So we will pick up on page 26 tomorrow. All right, go ahead and put your desk back and put your math books away. Thanks for coming in quietly, 5th